but I started crying, so I'm just not going to say it. I do want to say I am truly honored and extremely humbled to be included in this amazing group of athletes and sports people. I got the phone call from Connie. She didn't even tell me her full name. It was just Connie from the committee. And I was okay, that's fantastic. That's a great honor. And then later on, a couple weeks later, I get an email from her and it says her full name. I'm like, hang on a second. I watched you on TV. You're an inspiration to me to keep going. And it was just the connection to Powell River, knowing that somebody from Powell River could do that well and be at the games. I was just like, you're an inspiration. So I'd like to thank the committee members for this selection. It was such a great surprise. And this town, as you see, has produced some incredible athletes, and to be recognized amongst them is really unbelievable. I'd like to thank my family for their support, many of whom are here tonight. I'd like to thank my wife, Lara, and my son Nigel. They're on FaceTime. Part of the reason they couldn't come here is he had hockey tryouts. As many of you know, that supersedes everything in our lives now. Lara followed me from Ontario, where we lived and trained, to Arizona to coach, to start a training center where the Phoenix Coyotes were. 18 years later, both Lara and Nigel followed me and trusted me with a move to Colorado. No complaints, ready for the next adventure. So I just want to say, I love you two. You're the best thing in my life. I'd especially like to thank my mom. She's no longer with us, but she worked tirelessly. She supported me unconditionally. She made my costumes till I was 20 years old. One time in Seattle, I wiped out at a competition. I wiped out at least 5, maybe 6 times. I cleaned the ice so well with my butt, they didn't need to do the Zam and flood the ice for the next event. I did a real good job of cleaning up the ice. By the time I got to see her, all she said was, well, you looked good. That's nice. And then I started thinking, well, maybe it's because of my clothes that she sewed. She was just complimenting her sewing, but she was always just there no matter what. I'd also like to single out my brother Greg. He blazed the trail for me. Started skating here, became a 3-time national medalist, moved to Vancouver, we followed him later on. And he also, I found out very much later, my coach, Mr. Leach, was saying how much I paid for my own skating, but this guy, Greg, wasn't making much money. He kept sending money to my mom to help pay for my skating. So it's
yeah, Greg.
it kept going last night too when I had to bump $20 off him for beer. So as you saw, I started at the Willingdon Arena down by the beach. Bugging everybody so much I finally got thrown on the ice. I remember those days at the arena, skating, practicing, going to public session with my buddies from school, with my family, riding bikes around town, playing for the Lions, playing for the Legion in soccer, doing the ice show here. One of my memories is being dressed up as a lamb. I still haven't found the person that did that. That's not. As I improved, it wasn't all fun and games. Trained harder. I went to train with Mr. Leach. He was actually a minor league football player, figure skater, but he also was in the St. Louis Cardinals organization, and he trained us harder than I'd ever been trained before in my life. We got injuries. I had a double skull fracture from falling on the ice, and coaching changes. All these struggles, as some of the other athletes have talked about, last night we were talking about it at Monks. All these struggles made the journey so much better, and made the successes so much more worthwhile. I was talking with Ricky from the Regals. He said how we're all family, and it's true. We have a lot of similar stories, similar experiences. We pushed ourselves beyond what most people are willing to do. We thrive because of that. Now we're hobbling a bit, but I know each and every one of us would do that, do it all over again, do it again no matter what. Being an athlete, working to the level we have, it's opened up the world to us. the old 6 degrees of separation. It's not true for many athletes. It's much more small world than that, a more intimate place because of that. I was talking to Ronnie, he played hockey at Moose Jaw. He dated a girl who my wife, also from Saskatchewan, had competed against and knew very well. Talking to Drew, he played in Kitchener in 1990-91, which is where I was training at the exact same time. I coached Claude Mew in the Battle of the Blades. Turns out Pep was Brad's roommate with the New Jersey Devils. And then I find out once I get here that my brothers and my sister went to school with Brad's parents. It's just this small world, they just get smaller and smaller. The sport has taken me to places and allowed me to meet and befriend people I never could have imagined. Especially on those days when I was 6, 7, 8, getting bored to tears practicing school figures, going around and around and around. So I'd skip off the ice and pretend to go to the bathroom. A half hour later, I'd come back on, and my coach would be asking if I was okay. Do I have a bladder problem? What's going on? I like the action involved in jumping more than just gliding in circles. And later on, as Carol Hill said, I found my true calling. Pair skater. I like the danger of it, lifting a beautiful girl, who you saw in the video, lifting her over my head while turning on a 1/4-inch wide piece of steel, throwing her 5 feet in the air, 30 feet across the ice, watching her land perfectly, just as long as I did my job right. The only problem with skating with one of the most beautiful athletes in the world was hearing, "Oh, you're Christine Huff's partner, you're Tuffy's partner. What's your name?" And it got to the point where the Albertville Olympics, they had a newspaper, a daily newspaper that would come out. And on the cover of the newspaper was us doing the death spiral, where Tuffy's upside down, her head's this far from the ice. You can see her foot on the ice just parallel. And you see my hand. But, you know what? People said I was lucky, and I wasn't. I got to compete, perform, and coach everywhere from Trail, BC to Bangkok, Thailand. I skated at Madison Square Garden, I skated at the Montreal Forum, and of course at the Saddle Dome in front of 19,000 to 20,000 people who were just booming Canucks, just yelling and screaming for us, which was crazy. Dropping names now. I ate lunch with Prince Albert at the food hall at those Olympics. I also made a lifelong friend and Team Canada goalie, Sean Burke. Years later, we both ended up with the Phoenix Coyotes organization. Paul Michael Glazer of Starsky and Hutch. He was my director for the Cutting Edge movie that we were in, and fantastic person. People like Ty Domi, Mark Messier, Maple Ridge's own Larry Walker would show up at Stars on Ice. Musicians like Rick Nielsen of Cheap Trick, the Tragically Hip, the Bare Naked Ladies would hang out with us afterwards. That's just the tip of the iceberg of people that I was able to meet through sport. And I still shake my head in disbelief. And it all started here in Powell. No one knows I can wait, seriously. I think it's fantastic that Powell River has its own Sports Hall of Fame. It is especially important for the young athletes here, as they are able to see the history and the achievements of those who came before them. Giving these kids inspiration, giving them hope, a belief in themselves, that they too can follow their dreams and achieve success. Upon hearing of my induction, the owner of our rink in Monument, Colorado, was a former minor league hockey player, a scrapper, but a very spiritual man too. He sent me this Napoleon Hill quote, which all kids, all of us can apply. Whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Some of us have done that, many of us have done that, and these kids, believe in yourself, and you keep pushing, you keep trying, you keep working, you're going to be up here too. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for this incredible recognition. Have a great night. Thank you so much.